Alyssa Orange couldn't be with us yesterday because she was hosting the women's basketball luncheon. So we got her today instead. I knew we'd lock you down somehow, Alyssa. How's it going today?
You can't keep me away, guys. I'm sorry.
That's exactly
I know
right.
you guys tried. You just can't.
No, we'd never try to keep you away anyway. Give me some thoughts on what you saw last night, and how your overall thought. Because I've been trying to come more from the 80,000 foot perspective, and that's a tough perspective.
Yeah, obviously I think everyone's probably in agreement with the way that it started. It looked pretty good. And we're sitting here talking about a team that's still trying to find things offensively. And, it's hard when you got to count. Everything kind of has to be in sync. And every guy's got to be doing their job. And that's hard. It's even harder when you got to take it on the road and play against a team that is also looking for their first win in the SEC. So the way that things started, it was like, okay, I think maybe they've got it clicking. This rotation's kind of got it figured out. They look in sync, and then they lost that lead there at the end of the half, and then coming back out of the half, I think LSU just came out with the momentum. And I don't know if this team just still doesn't understand, or just haven't figured out how to play for 40 full minutes. But I think that's where my frustration lies. Is we see it, it's there. Where does it go? And then they can't get it back, and then they dig themselves into this hole, and then they start putting up bad shots and making bad decisions, and LSU takes advantage, just like every team is going to take advantage of that. And so that's where I am right now. And last week you guys asked me how I feel, and I was like, don't hit the panic button. They've got winnable games on the road at LSU in Missouri. But then you look at the fact that Missouri just went to Florida and beat Florida in their home building, and now Arkansas's got to go back to Columbia and try to beat Missouri. I don't feel very good anymore. And it just is there's a sinking feeling where it's like this is unraveling, and where do you're trying to get the water out of a sinking ship at the moment. And I don't want to be there mentally, but it's hard not to be.
Do you think anything with our second half woes? Because our first half's okay, then every team's shooting over 40% on the second half. Do we need to? I mean, we got a lot of guys. I say a lot of guys. We only have a couple guys that are playing a lot of minutes. How do we kind of shave some of these minutes back so maybe you can kind of keep that enthusiasm and that intensity in the second half? Because you're right. It seems like we're good, and then we kind of we lose our legs and we can't just keep up with the last 7, 8, 9 minutes of the basketball game.
And that's where I think those injuries that these guys had and are coming back from are really starting to be glaring issues. And then you've got a guy like Boogie Fland who, again, you need him to play his best basketball every single night, and he's a freshman. That is a lot to ask of a guy, even as talented as he is as a freshman, to be that guy. It's not like guys haven't played full games. You look back at your J.D. Notes and your Isaiah Joes and your Mason Jones. I mean, those guys were playing full games. But I don't know who you sub in. And it might be just a trust issue with Cal right now. Matt, it might not be a thing. It's just a trust thing. Like, these are the 9 guys I can trust to play, and that just means these 9 guys are going to have to work extra hard, and that load is big, and I'm asking a lot, specifically from a consistency point, all 38, 39 minutes that these guys are playing.
Well, women's basketball got a conference win last week. It was on the road. Yeah, I mean, it's just, and it's 4 games in and everything, right? And I put this out in the first hour. It's like women's basketball has no expectations this year for big time success. They're hoping, hoping to make it towards next year and scratch out enough wins this year so that you can kind of grow as a program moving forward. It's a completely different situation than the men's basketball team. And I think because I see it on the girls' faces after they get, lose by 30. It sucks. But I also don't know if they go into those games like, all right, we're world beaters here, so we can beat the number 2 team in the country or the number 1 team in the country on their own floor. It's a completely different set of expectations for the men's basketball team. And I think they have their own expectations that they're not meeting. And it feels like that's playing out in front of us every time they're on the court. It feels like a vicious cycle right now. But I also know it's like Matt points out, you pointed out, I see this too. sometimes, the way what happens, how do you get out of an 0 for 34 slump is a little blooper falls in, and the next thing you know, you're feeling a little bit better about yourself. Maybe it's one win. I'm not sure where it comes.
Yeah. And that's the hard part is what's going on? Where are things breaking down? Looking at the women are just trying to, get better every single game. And even in these losses to Tennessee, where they were at one point down by 3. These losses and these games that they're playing, they're just looking to continue to improve. This men's basketball team is looking to try to win games and make the tournament. And there's talent here, and there's a lot of talent, and figuring out why it's not working. And I think that's the big thing, is those questions that we just don't have answers to. So there's a lot more frustration with the men than the women, because we knew what to expect from the women's team coming into the year with everything that they lost, the pieces that they brought in. Not that they aren't talented pieces, because they are, but they're young and they're new to American basketball. A lot of them are, right? They just want to get better every game, and those wins, like the ones at Auburn, will happen. The men, it's a talented roster in a really talented league, and it is getting overshadowed by everyone else in this league is playing really well right now. Why can't Arkansas play like that? And that's where that frustration is you look around the rest of the league and everyone else is having success. What is wrong with Arkansas? And I think that's how fans feel. It's like, what's wrong with us?
Yeah, it might be a long year. We'll get to some more basketball later. It's tough on me when we're looking at this NFL playoffs going on this weekend, and there are 3 of the games are touchdown favorites, so it's been real chalky. But unbiased opinion, Alyssa, I know the Bills are in your division, but that Bills Ravens game, man, for the same price, that could be a Super Bowl. It could be epic. How do you see that game going, and why?
Yeah, that you're so funny, because you're so right, because I will never root for the Bills ever. ever. And not even a Haley
Steinfeld movie anymore.
No, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It's okay. You love who you love, and she gets a pass. But I really like this Ravens team. I really like Lamar Jackson. I do. I'm a fan of Lamar Jackson, and I would love to see the Ravens have some success. So that might be the AFC team that I'm kind of jumping on the bandwagon with, since the Dolphins weren't playing. And I can't be a Chiefs fan. I can't. That's tough for me too. But man, that's going to be really, really fun. And I think it's fun when you don't have a team in it at the moment, and you can just appreciate the good football that you're watching. Like, how fun was that Rams-Vikings game? Mm-hmm. Just to watch, right? And so that's kind of where I'm sitting at, where it's just like, I just like to watch good football. So if I can watch good football and not be emotionally invested, it's kind of a nice break for me. So I like Lamar Jackson. I'm going to be real with you guys. My cousin is a massive Lamar Jackson fan, to a fact where he has his face tattooed on his thigh, or on his calf.
What?
I will send you a photo. Oh, yeah. He's got a massive Lamar Jackson on his calf. So
I wish you wouldn't have corrected yourself, and it would still be a tattoo on his thigh.
No,
because that sounds
it's not. It's on his calf.
More painful.
That's a lot of soccer play. You see these soccer players, they'll have a big leg tattoo on their thigh, and you're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, he wants to get a leg sleeve. He's got an arm sleeve. He wants a leg sleeve. He's got to figure out who else he's going to put on his leg. But Lamar Jackson is on there already. Send you a photo.
How high are you willing to go with this up the leg? Seriously, because you see guys with the arm sleeves. I mean, it's all the way up, but it's a little bit different going all the way up the arm than all the way up the leg. You don't have to answer any of that, Alyssa. I'm just sort of throwing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I guess what your pain tolerance is like.
I know what mine is. I'm not getting. I have one tattoo, and it's never. That'll be the only one that I ever get again. That's it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I got mine on my ribs. Holy moly!
We're learning things about our media personalities now. That's right. I got mine on my right shoulder at the age of 20. So it was a long time
back. Well, hey, don't. I might get another one eventually.
Yeah. We have changes in life. Why not? I made a change in life because I used to watch the baseball playoffs with utter jealousy because my Pirates 30 years ago were good enough to actually go. Now I just watch the baseball playoffs the way that you're watching the football playoffs this year. It's like I just want to watch fun games and see how long this can go and everything. That's how I don't watch football playoffs like that. That's how I watch college football playoffs, maybe not the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. It's sometimes fun that way, though.
You know how I don't watch? Here's a sport that I will never watch like that. When I watch the College World Series and I'm not actually at the stadium in Omaha, I don't want anybody to win anything.
Nope.
At that point, I'm just like, let's all finish in a tie, or how about, some 3-week storm come in so we don't finish this.
Isn't that so funny how that works? Like, there are sports where you're like, you know what, I can sit back and enjoy this. And then there are ones like the College World Series, you're absolutely right, where you're just like, everybody loses. All for that.
So now that we've been talking a little bit about the expectations of basketball, you want to set some baseball expectations a month before the season? Now that they're number 5, and you get a guy, Noah Darling, who's someone I follow. He's a founder of College Baseball CNT. So he's a baseball writer. He's picking Arkansas as his national championship pick. So any Razorback fan that hears that right now is like, no, anything but that.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Hey, I was curious. I did want to know, we were talking last week about them being 13th in perfect game, and then D1 Baseball has them as 5th. Does that discrepancy surprise you there?
No, not at all. Because, look, it's 3. I think it's 2 or 3 people with PG, with perfect game. And I think it's more people with D1. Here's the other thing, too. The perfect game guys, look, they have a lot of players to cover. They got a lot of teams to cover and everything, but they listed Gabe Gackle as one of the top relief pitchers in college baseball this next year. Now, he's going to be one of the best pitchers, I think, but Dave even confirmed on his presser today he's a starting pitcher. So just get the information right, and then I'll believe your rankings a little bit more.
Okay. All right. See, and that's why I ask you.